Hey everyone, Grizz here for Walking in My Wheels. We are back for part 2 and the conclusion of Crippled Life. Again, thank you so much for listening.
Lived in Florida, and she says, Derek, I live in Florida. I have a 2-bedroom condo that I rent. If you want to come down here and try and start over, come on down. So I did. Hopped on a plane.
How it happened.
Yep. And that's how I ended up in Florida, because my mom had already lived there. So that happened, and I got really depressed my first year there. I remember my mom. I went to my aunt's house. My aunt lived down there also. It was my birthday, and my 4-year-old brother sang happy birthday to me on the answering machine, and I wasn't there to talk to him. And I heard it when I got home, and I just started crying. I was just like, my life is a piece of shit. You know, I'm just going to sit here and exist and doodle some art and I had nothing. I didn't have a job. I was getting disability, and my mom was smoking weed all the time. I was miserable. You know, I was miserable. So ultimately, made a couple of friends. I don't even remember how I made friends, because I didn't have anything around me. I mean, there was a local bar, local dive bar. I used to go to dive bar. Dive bar. It's
like the lowest of dives.
Yeah, but I mean, there's some cool people there, so I made some friends, a couple of friends that weren't so divey in the dive bar, and asked me to move in with them because, you know, my mom and I were getting to a point where we couldn't cover rent, and just things were just bad. So I lived on his couch for a little while, and then we ended up getting a house, literally 4 houses from the beach. So life started to pick up for me again. However, that house was a party house, and I had gained this attitude of, screw this disease, it's not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want. So I partied my ass off. I was drinking or stoned every single night of my life, probably for the next 7-8 years. Partying every night. I lived in the house for about 1.5 years and then ended up going into an apartment, but did my first line of cocaine at that house.
It's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, watch crack get cooked right in front of my eyes. I never did it. That scared the crap out of me. Did my first tab of acid at that house. Did my first ecstasy at that house. It turned into a party house, and I was partying a lot.
Right.
So I basically...
that's not good on the condition.
Correct. And I have a heart... My disease comes with a heart condition.
That's
I wasn't happy. I wasn't... But when I partied, I was partying to have fun. Looking back upon it, I was really trying to...
Happy.
Yeah.
You were just trying to alleviate.
I was basically just trying to, say, F you disease. I'm not going to let it control me. And during those many years, I turned into a slut. It's amazing how many girls are curious at spring break in Daytona Beach when you're in a wheelchair. That's all I can say about that. Very curious girls. So I had fun.
I was doing it all wrong all these years.
Yes, you were.
You know what the whole thing feels like? It feels like a behind the music.
Yeah.
Behind the podcast.
Behind the crippled.
Behind the cripple. You progressively walk slower as his batteries are dying.
I know. Somebody reading 8 Steps in the background as the scooter slows down.
Wow.
That's dark.
I hope I gave that justice, by the way. That was
You did.
hard to read.
That was a good reading.
I was all sweating when I was done.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
So, horrible joke.
That was a good joke.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Thank you.
No problem.
So, didn't. Yep. So, where was I? I see.
So we were talking about how, it was because of partying, because it was also because of disease. It's
you were like, fuck you, disease.
Yeah,
you were being a slut.
I really was. And I'm still friends with many of those people that have moved forward in life. And, they don't party like that anymore. I don't party like that anymore. I'm nice and clean and don't do anything anymore. But it's like, I have this one friend who said, you were on a death wish. She was like, you always said you didn't think you'd see 30, and you partied like you didn't think you'd see 30. I don't ever remember saying that shit, but she said you always said that. So yeah, so I don't remember, but she's like, you said that a lot. So I find that interesting. I had a couple of girlfriends through that.
Right,
towards the end of the raging. I mean, with the ecstasy, I'd only done that over that 8-year period. I only had done that a handful of times, literally a handful of times. The acid, handful of times. Once again, though, those were things that you couldn't control. It would bring you to a place. It'll bring you to a place where you didn't know what was next. I mean, you might turn the corner and just have this weird hallucination. What's hallucination?
Hallucination?
I know. Remember.
I'm about to say. Hold on. Are we talking about
today, Junior?
I can't even say it. Remembering. Memorable. There we go.
Remember,
man. See, I used to have a hard time saying Williamsburg.
Words hard.
But it's like, remember.
You speak like I walk.
Shit. Wow. I was flailing during the 8 steps, so yeah.
Your lips were kind of flailing while you're trying to get that word out, so just put that out there. It kind of looked like a...
That's what she said.
Yeah. So,
like a bulldog.
Like I said, I never got into like a heroin or a crack or that stuff. Just
things like really heavy, but you just kind of went hard.
I went hard. The cocaine I did for like 3 months, and then what had happened with that is I was at a party one night, and I was drinking. I was high. Cocaine and ecstasy.
You should be dead, sir.
Yep. So
you're a miracle.
Once your body gets to a certain point, unfortunately,
there's one line
keeps
left.
Going.
Yeah, there's one line left for everybody. And this girl that we used to party with looked at me. She goes, "Hey, Derek, you sure you want to do that line?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to do that line." She goes, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I'm okay. Come on, let's cut this up." I was like ready to go because I was hopped up on everything, and she was wrecked herself. I mean, we were all destroyed. We were partying so hard. And she looked at me, and she got like really like this sober look in her face, and she goes, "Okay, well, you and I have partied a lot with each other, a real lot." I was like, "Yeah, I know, we've had a great time." She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "But I need to tell you, I've never ever seen you where you're at right now." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Just, are you sure you want that line?" And right there, I stopped doing cocaine. Never did it again.
Right.
Yeah, and the other drugs too. I didn't do anymore.
Did you?
So I didn't quit smoking weed. I look at weed as like drinking a beer. It just I truly look at it. I think it should be legalized. Like alcohol, it can be abused just the same way. You know, you can come home and drink a beer every night to wind down, or take a hit off a bowl every night to wind down. I have no problem with that. But you can come home every night and get freaking blazed out of your mind or get drunk. I have a problem with that. It's the abuse factor.
Right.
So, well, it's the benefits that cannabis has for chronic diseases and stuff.
Yeah, and I do believe it does help chronic diseases. I do believe it's a little bit glorified for people that really just want to get stoned. I do that. I believe that to a certain degree also. But there are some benefits to it. I just don't think it's a miracle drug as it's presented these days.
It can do a lot, but not to the level, I'm sure, that, Yeah.
Like I've heard cannabis can kill cancer cells, but the FDA won't allow testing on it or something. Like, really going to kill it? I don't know for sure because I don't know what's fake news and what's not fake news. But this is a tangent. So
that's a tangent, right?
All I'm going to say is lobbyists in D.C. and just watch the cooking channel or something with like every other commercial's a pharmaceutical thing. No, it's big business. They don't want it to happen. I'm off my soapbox now.
Watch Viceland.
Right.
Watch
pretty
Viceland.
much.
Viceland's just this pro weed channel.
It is.
It really is.
It is. It's damn entertaining. But
so basically,
So do you feel like
I partied my ass off for like 8
in
years.
retrospect, though, like, were you deeply depressed at that time, and was it based on your disease, or was it just where you were in your station in life?
I definitely wasn't deeply depressed. I did have some moments where I slid into it a little bit, you know, because I felt life became mundane. I was just existing. I don't like that feeling.
Right.
Not having a girlfriend gave me, or not having anybody to be with, gave me a lack of purpose. I struggle with that today. And, just everybody needs a reason to get up.
Right.
Back then it was to pay bills. Every once in a while I'd get a girlfriend in my life and things would be fun for a little bit, and then it would either dissipate or they would realize, oh, this disease is real and it's going to be forever. So,
right, and it's going to progress.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you meeting Cynthia? Did your rock and roll drug thing? Did it overlap any, or were you off of that before?
No, I was very much towards the end. I probably a few months before I met her, I was dating this other woman. A few months before I met her, more than that, longer. I was having chest pains at my job, so I went to the doctor, and they freaked out. And then they were like, "Oh, you got this thing," and I'm like, "That's caused by muscular dystrophy," because I hadn't gone to the doctors in forever. I was just partying for 10 years. So I said, that heart condition's caused by my disease. So the doctor I had was like, no, it was way before I met Cynthia. I apologize. The doctor I had was like, maybe you're muscular dystrophy. I'm like, no, the doctors told me I don't have this. Well, it just might be. Here's your options. We can give you medicine that will jolt your heart back into place. We can give you another medicine and give you an electroshock that'll jolt your heart back into a regular heartbeat, or some other option, or a pacemaker. And I looked at the doctor. I said, are those other options really going to work? Because it's electrical currents from my brain causing my heart to do this from the muscular dystrophy. It's all neurological. My heart's progressive, so I don't know if you can just jolt my heart back into place. In essence, I'm saying, hey, doc, do your effing research on my disease.
Right.
So, and my girlfriend at the time, oh gosh, she was beautiful. We had a lot of fun. She helped me grow up. She helped me go, you need a bedroom set that's not on the floor. You need a real vehicle. You need to be a man. I was in my mid-20s. You need to be a man. So she kind of helped me grow up in a sense of you're not a little boy anymore. Right. Your disease isn't going to give you shit. And she's one of the people also that made me look at the emotional aspect of my disease that I was hiding from behind all the drugs and alcohol.
Was she the one that said, well, how did that really make you feel?
Yes, and it was one of the few times where she made me look at it in a sense of a deeper level. So you guys know there's a certain level of fronting. There's insecurities that I have that nobody knows about.
Sure. I mean, everybody's like, how well can you really know a person? Because there's so much that is internal.
Exactly. So with this disease, you go through life or I go through life and I'm trying to find joy, and then I find joy in it, and it falls apart, and I have to find that joy again. And when it comes to relationships, as far like women, this is going to go the women route for a little bit. When it comes to relationships with women, there's so much to overcome from just a physical view right out the gate. I mean, it's like, okay, this is Derek. He has muscular dystrophy. Bam, take out 75% of the women because there's a certain level of vanity. I have muscular dystrophy. I don't want to be with somebody who has muscular dystrophy. I don't want to be with somebody that I'm not necessarily attracted to in that way. So, I can't just get a good haircut and do a makeover and get some outfits and be this different person. I'm still this super skinny dude that the woman that's going to be in my life needs to know how to get over stuff and needs to realize that at some point in their life they might have to wipe my ass. I don't want that, but that's just the reality of it. Some point in their life they might have to pick me up off the ground. At some point in their life they might come into the room and find me dead.
Right, because along with it, you don't have a full life expectancy.
No, doctors said 65 is about the age. Some have gone into their 70s. Some are less. I keep an eye on my heart. I go to a cardiologist who's aware of my disease and has done the research, and he's a good cardiologist. Within the next year, if not this year, I'm probably going to need a pacemaker. So now I'm a skinny dude with a big effing bump on his chest because there's a pacemaker underneath. Another physical attribute that I'm going to have to, a woman's going to see, and it's going to look funny as hell. So that stuff shouldn't matter.
But it does.
Shouldn't. But it's the reality of it. People don't. Well, you don't want to be that. You don't want that type of woman, anyways. Of course, I don't. But it's the reality of it. Is it already knocks off that opportunity right out the gate. So what I have going for me is my sense of humor. And I try to be kind and try to be romantic and all that. But that's hard. I went to a bar one day down in Florida and was sitting at the bar having a drink. I used to go to a place called the Ocean Deck. You know the Ocean Deck.
Oh, yeah. I've been
Daytona
there
Beach.
many times. Yeah. This place is awesome.
Yeah, it's the best bar in Daytona Beach.
I've only been down to the Panhandle. Sorry. I
tell everybody, they're like, I'm going to Daytona Beach. I'm like, have you been to the Ocean Deck? Well, it's my first time. I go, okay. This is what you do. You go to the Ocean Deck on the weekend, a Saturday or Sunday.
So to have the band playing.
Watch Storm and Norman in the afternoon. After Storm and Norman's karaoke. I watch karaoke. After they leave, you eat dinner, hang out for a few hours, and then the band will come on, the Caribbean Posse. If you have a bad time at the Ocean Deck, something's wrong with you. That's why if you have a bad time at the Ocean Deck, something is because it's just a blast. It's a party. So I used to pay that place is freaking rent for crying out loud. I used to go there all the time. So I was sitting there one day, and having my pregame, which was a pitcher of Red Bull, a mini pitcher of Red Bull. I'd drink that and then switch over to Captain Cokes. So, yeah, good stuff. So
she's like, I'm going to be as good to my heart as possible.
So yeah, exactly. So I was sitting there, and this woman sat next to me, and so I sparked up conversation with her. So we were talking for probably a solid half hour, really connecting with each other.
Right.
Have a great conversation. I said, I do apologize. I got to the bathroom. I'll be right back. So I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and that's back when I could walk, but I walked really funny. So I got back, sat down. Within 3 minutes, she had left. And I know it's because she saw me get up and walk and saw the disease.
Right.
Because you couldn't see it when I was just sitting there. I just looked like a thin dude. So that's a massive reality. And now being permanently in a scooter,
right?
That decision is made before getting to know me. So
it's It's just a visual thing. You've already been kind of
and everything nowadays is so visual. Anyways, it's hard. It's hard. So I get down sometimes, and
sure.
After Christmas, I slid into a massive depression after Christmas. It lasted about a week, 2 weeks. There was 4 days where I was lost. I didn't know if I was going to come out of it. It stemmed around loneliness. And it's not a lack of friendships. I mean, I confide in you guys all the time. But the whole depression thing, and I didn't tell anybody about it, really, just a few people.
It's hard to go through life without companionship.
It is.
Yeah, and it's a companionship. It's not the friendship.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are like my best friends here. You guys are wonderful people, and if I need you, I know you'd be in our heartbeat. And likewise, also, if you guys needed me, I'd be here for you. But the lack of companionship it's very wearing on me, and
right.
I hope it doesn't affect my long term, existence on this planet. The stress that comes with it.
Stressor. I mean, anybody. It's like you're going to be here as long as especially like you see it in older people. You're going to be here as long as you want to be here.
And
when people give up.
Yeah, like the people's like, oh, we found out you have cancer, and then a week later they're dead, and you're like, oh, you just kind of let that one.
Well,
you hear stories of like that all the time.
Well, this actually kind of brought up actually two questions, because I know the Ocean Deck was one of those places that you went to a lot, and at one point, I know you told me it was just where physically it wasn't really an option anymore.
Yeah, because
the Ocean Deck is down a flight of stairs. If you've never been there, you park what's about like a level up. You go down a flight of stairs, and you're basically on beach level.
Yes.
You can walk out to the beach from there.
Yeah. And they built a top level on it, but that's just food.
Yeah, it's just food. And I mean, there's a bar up there, but it's not the same. It's not the party. It's all downstairs. So when that happened, when you were at that point, how do you react when something like that became kind of like a regular thing for you? Because I know you just said it. You paid their rent. It was no longer an option.
Yeah. It was later that I couldn't do the steps anymore. So I was kind of on that.
You were kind of already getting at it at whole entire
party stage. But then I wanted to go back, and have a good time one night with some friends. We're all going out, because you never truly leave the party when you're leaving the party. It's like when you break up a girl and you have sex a couple more times after you've broken up, that type of thing. So, leaving the party, I still had some party going on every once in a while.
Yeah, you cut back.
Yeah, exactly.
You weren't going flat out.
Yeah, exactly. So I basically went one time, and I was in a regular wheelchair, and the two bouncers had to carry me down in the regular wheelchair, and then at one point I had to go to the bathroom, and I could still stand at that time, but maneuvering the Ocean Deck in a wheelchair is the pit of hell.
Tight.
Yeah,
it's tight.
And then the bathrooms are small, and I was like, I can't do this. This is probably my last time at the Ocean Deck. It just, but at that point I was okay with it because I didn't want to party as much anyways, But yeah, I mean, it's things like that. It's realizing that you're not going to do things that you used to be able to do. One of my favorite things growing up was street hockey. Loved it. I was good at it. Wiffle ball, playing outdoors with my friends. I really can't. I can't go and jump into a pickup wiffle ball game at a picnic, where that shit happens.
Right.
Can't throw a ball anymore like I used to. I realized that during the dunking tank. 5 years ago at the dunking tank at our first picnic, I put one of the managers in 3 times in a row. Bam, bam, bam. Now I can't do that anymore. In 5 years, I can't throw a ball like I used to.
Right.
So that type of thing. That's why I'm starting to be healthy and lift weights and stuff like that. Try and build some strength. Because I always knew I good aim. So it's the progression of it.
Because it's not, it's not sudden. It's a steady progression.
Yeah,
for the most part.
And when something's going away, that's the scary part.
Is you could feel it going away.
Yeah, because one day you can, Like putting on socks on my own. One day I could, next day I couldn't. 3 days later I could, next day I couldn't. 6 days later I could, next day I couldn't. 2 weeks later I could, then I couldn't. You know, it just kind of turns into this tug of war. And then you kind of just have to, you don't give in to the disease, it just kind of takes over.
Right.
Yeah. So
you're not going to stop trying. That's not in your nature.
No.
To stop trying.
But it's dumb stuff. Clipping my toenails. You know, that's literally, but doing that, I have to get into a certain position. And I feel like that my hip and my knee are going to pop out, but it's the only way I can reach. You know,
right?
Things like that. The things like that. Reaching for stuff, like to turn on my oven. All the knobs are on the back, so I have a pair of tongs, and I use the tongs and I reach around. I turn my oven on and off that way in the range. Stuff in the freezer I can't reach, so I put the tongs one through one grate underneath and one through the other grate on the shelf, and slide the stuff closer to me until it falls out, and then I catch it. Once I catch it, then I, use it for whatever I need. So there's all these little tiny tricks that I have to do to accomplish things in my apartment.
Right.
Yeah. Vacuuming's a son of a bitch. And that's basically, I section it off. I get into a position and see how far my reach is, vacuum as much as I can, and then move over to another section. Because moving back and forth with a whole scooter, that's just mundane and just not really, what's the word I'm looking for? Efficient, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little things.
It's a lot of little things that you notice on an everyday basis. Do you find with the tricks and things, like, do you feel like some of those are things that you know that are going to go away or have become increasingly difficult as well?
There's a fear of that.
Fear of that.
The things that I've figured out, I've got it pretty efficient, but there is that fear. I'm afraid of not being independent at all. Moving here and living on my own I'm very proud of myself to be able to live out here alone and not have to rely on the day-to-day stuff. I mean, yeah, I need somebody to do my laundry and change my sheets for me and stuff like that. I help doing that kind of stuff. But being able to still bathe on my own and go to the bathroom on my own and wash my own dishes, cook my own dinners, make whatever I want for breakfast, listen to whatever music I want, put a record on. All those little things might seem easy and everyday day-to-day stuff to you guys, but for me, I have to figure out how to perfectly roll up to the side of a sink within an inch of the edge of the sink so I can just reach the faucet to turn it on. And if I'm a half an inch back and I flip that faucet on too much, that arm goes up a little too far. Now I can't reach it to turn it off. So I have to readjust and get all situated again just to reach the faucet.
Living your life in K-turns.
Yeah, yes, and I really do. And the K-turns is all about just adjusting. If you're sitting at your desk at work, I pull up my scooter sideways and I type at the desk. You can just tuck your seat in. I gotta drive out and reposition. It takes a lot longer. It's hard, man. It's hard. Right. It's fucking hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not complaining. And I'm not. This isn't me whining. This is just.
It's just the reality of it.
Yeah, I kind of think that. I want people to know that it's not fun. It's not fun. It's gotten me some wonderful things. I've gotten backstage at concerts. I've met some wonderful people. I've made some incredible friends, and I'm not downplaying any of that. But this disease is not fun, and I'm better off than half the other people in this world that have some sort of disease or ailment. People with mental diseases, oh my God, I wouldn't be able to function or have a proper mentally working mind and not have the ability to verbally express it. Being stuck in I couldn't imagine that. So to believe me, I do appreciate the certain level that this disease affects me, and it's not an overboard thing where I'm stuck in my own brain, but it's hard, and I get very, very tired, not physically, just emotionally exhausted, and then that's where I battle the depression a little bit. I've always dealt with being able to come in and out of it. Everybody has sad days. Everybody has sad days, so I'm not a big fan of,
right.
Oh, you're sad today? Take a pill, get over it, that type of thing. People need to have their sad days so they can appreciate the rest of their life. And they can realize, and so they understand the aspect of emotion and understand, hey, why am I feeling that way? If you don't go through those emotions, then you're not going to understand who you are as a person. And this disease has given me a tremendous amount of emotions, or put me into situations that have given me a different amount of emotions, ranging from a piece of shit where I feel like nothing, this non-existent, worthless piece of shit that is just paying his bills, to this wonderful person who people love and care for, who have told you that they couldn't imagine not meeting you in their life. So there's that huge gamut of emotions. So it's without having that, I would never be able to process why I feel the way I do sometimes. And like this last depression that I went into, it was a big one, my biggest ever. And I know it stemmed from loneliness, but I would not have been able to ultimately process it if I didn't have both the good and the bad to understand who I was and why I felt that way. So next time when that trigger point arises, I know how to look at it and go, okay, that's what this was. What you felt was an exaggeration of what happened. It felt as an exaggeration. Like the way I felt did not fit what I was going through. It was just too much.
Right.
And after the fourth day where I'm sitting there going, oh shit, am I going to come out of this? Do I need to go to a place? It scared me. And I legit looked in a mirror and said, figure your shit out. I looked at myself, figure your fucking shit out. Verbally said that out loud to myself. And just kind of closed my eyes and just said, okay, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling this way? I was able to kind of figure it out, but and it stems from the disease. You know, it stems from the insecurity of it stemmed from the shit I don't have control over. And it's turned into, it's me going through this is going to make me stronger, or going through these things makes me stronger because it helps me deal with it if it arises again. My goal through anything that I go through is to learn from it, whether it be good or bad. My marriage with Cynthia, it ended up bad, but I'm pulling from that what I can to know what I can do right or wrong with the next person. But another thing, I don't think she was necessarily prepared. God bless her for even taking me on. But
right.
So at the end of the day, it still takes
it's a lot. It's a lot for a person to take on. You have to. It has to be a strong-willed person, that's willing.
Yes.
To do so.
Yeah, and I think over time, I don't think she realized, really what it entails is hard work. It's hard work taking care of a crippled guy. I probably could have been more independent in the relationship as far as doing things, which I've learned being alone. Sometimes it just hurts too much.
Right.
And it wasn't so much as a kid. I was just kind of floating through life, and life was good, and They asked me to be Jerry's kid, sit on Jerry Lewis's lap for the telethon and all that. My parents were like, no, we don't want anybody feeling sorry for you. So we're just going to treat me like a normal kid. But that really would have been badass.
Yeah, right.
That
would have been our logo, part of our logo.
Yeah,
that would have been our freaking wallpaper on Facebook.
I know, right? So, I think that in today's day and age, it's hard to find people that are emotionally connected to themselves, and my disease is forcing me to be. It forces me to look at myself. It forces me to face my insecurities. Because I look at girls, I'm like, she'd never go for a dude that's crippled. That's my first. Well, my first assessment is she pretty or not? Because that's always what a guy does. And
sure.
Then my second question to myself is, do you think she'd go for a crippled dude? So,
right.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And then,
but what I've noticed about you is that at least you have, just because you have tried, you don't give up. You are a stubborn motherfucker. You are a stubborn bastard. That at least that gives you, and that's why I see you actually try. Because I can imagine that it would be easy for somebody to just let it take over and just accept it.
It was funny. I got a tattoo. My girlfriend at the time and I went and gotten tattoos. No, she got her. I drew a picture of an angel and she wanted to get tattooed on her lower back. So brought her, and that's when I got my shoulder tattoo actually. So I brought her, and the guy was doing the tattoo, and he had a form of muscular dystrophy that was a little bit different. He was different than mine, just a different form. He's like, "Hey, why do you walk that way?" I was like, "I have muscular dystrophy." He goes, "Oh, I got the same thing too." And I had been in the wheelchair part-time at that time, and at the tattoo parlor there was a little bit of walking involved getting there, so I was in the wheelchair. And so he goes, he's like doing tattoo. He goes, "Oh yeah, I see, you have muscular dystrophy." So we went back and forth a little bit. He goes, "Yeah," he goes, "It's too bad you already gave up though." I was like, "Motherfucker."
Oh shit.
What? And so I kind of looked at him. I was like, "Well, clearly you don't understand that we have two different forms. I clearly didn't give up. You're giving a tattoo. I'm getting one. I'm not giving up. I'm still out living life, whether I'm doing it in a seated position or not." So even other people with muscular dystrophy think that.
Right.
Not much. Other people just, look at you. And once again, another person that has a disease even to judge me on a physical level. Like, he doesn't know where I was at and what my disease consists of, or,
Right. Especially considering you said that there's probably like around 100, if not more.
Yeah.
Forms of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of them. It's ridiculous. There's a kind that you can't smile. No facial expression. Imagine like somebody telling a joke and you can't laugh at it.
That sucks.
It's horrible. I mean, good if you were the one making the joke with that deadpan, deadpan laughter.
Shit, that'd be awesome.
I just feel like.
Now, what if though, like, their facial expressions couldn't match the noise coming out of their mouth? Though, that would be freaky.
It'd be weird. That would be weird, like a mannequin type of style.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't imagine that. So, I mean, definitely, I understand. I could be a lot worse in this world.
Hey, man,
I could be in a much worse condition.
We're going to Metallica.
Yeah, we are going to Metallica.
And you're also seeing Iron Maiden.
And seeing Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
And in May, there is a Tool cover band playing at the Revelry Room. $10 a ticket.
That sounds like fun.
I'm going to check it. $10 a ticket.
Shit.
I know you. Never. So.
Nope.
But, so I don't know. I mean, God, I did a lot of talking.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to, well, it was originally we have to split this, obviously.
Yeah, this could be 2 episodes. So, but, yeah, I think I'm okay where I'm at.
So after all of it, I mean, you obviously, I know, can't imagine it any other way.
Yes.
Do you feel that it's made you a better person now?
Absolutely. I struggle. the last year has been hard. But having this podcast has really been a wonderful thing, and it's been a place where we can express our shit, even as surface level as it may be, or as deep as it may be. This is something for me, just this particular podcast, that I've thought about since the beginning. We've discussed possibly doing this from the beginning. This somewhat therapeutic. I don't necessarily have a front, but there's a little bit of a mask I hide behind out there in the world, that nobody really sees the hard stuff. And I definitely don't want anybody feeling sorry for me, but I just not just take that statement as is. I don't want anybody feeling sorry for me. With that said, people that are good in this world and that would deal with disabilities and all that and don't feel owed, because there are people out there that feel they're owed. Like, society owes me because I'm handicapped. That's horse shit. That's horse shit. Quit feeling sorry for yourself. That pisses me off. Unless you're in a situation where, it's legitimate. You do need help and all that. Quit feeling sorry for yourself. That bothers me. However, it happens. Me going in my mode of depression or whatever. That's not necessarily me feeling sorry for myself. That's me being uncontrollably going, how am I going to handle these emotions? That's what that feels like to me. That's my depression. I don't know how to deal with these. I don't know how to compartmentalize these. I don't know how to process what's going through my mind right now. So I shut down.
It's not you being crippled, it's you being human.
Yes. Yeah. So, but it's ultimately, those moments are spurred by something related to my disease. And it brings out the insecurities related to my disease. One of my biggest fears is ending up alone. I don't want to die without a girlfriend or a wife and not that I need that to validate myself. I've lived alone for 2 years almost now. I can live alone. I'm okay with being alone. I just don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to. I'm okay. I can do it. I can be happy alone. I can laugh alone. I just don't want to do it anymore. And so sometimes that gets overwhelming. And then dealing with the social aspect of life and just people. And it's both sides of the fence too. It's not just women. It's men who judge from afar. And, I can tell. I can tell when people are thrown off or uncomfortable. But you just deal with it. And you press forward. And you find the ones that don't care. And I hold on to my friends. You guys, we're going to be friends forever. We might go, in 12 years not talk to each other for 3 or 4 years, but then I'll call and we will always be friends. I have friends. I have a friend from 8th grade I'm still friends with. We talk to every once in a while. So,
right.
So, I mean, this, I don't know if it's a disease, which has helped give me my personality, but it's helped me make wonderful friends that I truly love. Like to the core. I love my friends.
Right.
That's all I can say. If y'all had vaginas, I'd hit on you.
Thank the Lord for that.
I know. Thank you. Gosh.
I feel so much better.
It's an emotional attraction. It's an emotional attraction.
Oh, okay.
Believe me, I'm trying to process that one too.
Oh, wow. That's steep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know. You want to...
Well, I mean, it's reciprocal as well because, you can't be a shallow person and commit yourself to a validated friendship with you either. I mean, you got to commit and not see it. Not see your disease.
It's weird because I do have some male friends that are out there that there is that surface level, and it stays to a certain extent an arm's length friendship. Because I like having deeper conversations. I've had private deeper conversations with you, private deeper conversations with you, with both of you, and I think those are what's important to establish true friendships, not a just see a football game, and that's just, might as well be an acquaintance. If you don't know somebody, you don't know somebody.
Yeah, you don't really know.
If you're not willing to open up with somebody, then, like, if I ask you questions about your life and you're not willing to kind of open up a little bit and let me know, like, shit that's a little bit deeper than the first level of the onion that you are, then we're probably not going to be deep friends. We're probably, we'll laugh and joke about some surface level shit, but we're not going to be
right.
Yeah.
I want more out of a friendship, and I have that. I think that's why I'm friends with a lot of women too. It's because they're emotional and they like to talk about stuff. So I like helping them figure shit out because I'm pretty good at that.
You're such an ogre.
Yes, I am.
Ogres have layers.
I knew you could do the
Nice
Shrek
pull.
reference.
Nice pull. I
Waiting
like
for the
that.
Shrek reference.
It's like an onion.
So
Like an onion.
Or like a parfait. Everybody likes parfaits.
Everybody
Parfaits
likes
have layers.
parfaits. Parfaits do have layers, don't they?
I may have to go home and
Yes,
make
they
a
do.
parfait now.
sounds delicious. Remember the peanut butter parfaits from Dairy Queen?
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Or a parfait, since we're not in France.
We can't use that like argument on this show after we let the Royale with cheese win. Just putting that out there. You can't ever.
Royale with
That's great.
cheese.
Yeah.
So
So just that.
yeah. So all right. So we probably should wrap things up. Anything else you might want to? Where I'm at?
I'm gonna pull from old Wooderson again from Dazed and Confused, man. You just got to keep on living. LIVIN.
Shit. He said it best. I can't top that. What a pull. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
I know, right?
That's my mantra. Like, 'cause the older I get, like,
I'm gonna go with Joe
That's just
Dirt and be
me.
like, I'm gonna keep on keeping on. That's my favorite Sunday afternoon movie, by the way. If that's on, I'll always have that
Yeah.
on. Joe
I'm gonna add.
I got the poo on me.
I'm gonna add another hashtag besides hashtag be love.
All right,
Hashtag because Metallica.
because we talk. All right,
Oh,
Anthony,
shit.
I know. I thank you everybody for listening. I know this got pretty deep and pretty intense there, and I appreciate your ears. I felt like it was something I need to get off my chest and just kind of talk about. So it'll be interesting when I listen to myself later.
Yeah. Well, this is the whole premise. This is you walking in your wheels, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of, without my disease, this podcast would not exist. So, once again, it kind of brings it back to the good things that it's brought me, and this is one of those. So, thank you everybody for listening. Greatly appreciate it. Anything you want to add, Matt?
No.
All right. Well, remember, everybody, even a speed bump can be a jump.
Thank you for supporting Walking in My Wheels. You can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. If you have something to say, email us at walkinginmywheels@gmail.com. Keep being awesome people and hashtag be love.